Se acerca la 318, chavales. Ay, qué maravilla. Pedazo de bicho la Polaris, Buf. Qué a gusto me he quedado. Todavía hay que revisar bien el vídeo, ver un montón de cosas. A lo largo de la semana, el fin de la semana, pues iremos viendo, ¿no?
Cartoons? You guys have Rocky and Buoy?
Yeah, we did.
Was that big up there? Or?
Not really.
Oh.
Canada, yes. Quebec, no.
No, well,
Wait, Canada and Quebec are two different places? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, they are.
Actually, they are.
yeah.
All right, why are Canada and Quebec two different places?
Are we getting on that?
Yeah, no, we're live. We're live. No. Put it on camera. No. These people,
Some
why are
history.
Canada and Quebec two different places?
Country.
I don't think it was ever translated to French either, which means that most kids in Quebec wouldn't understand half of what was going on.
In Rocky and Buoy.
Yep.
Well, that's pretty much the same as it was in America. It's moose and squirrel. Hey, everybody. Welcome to, what show is this? Star Citizen Live, the Montreal Protocol. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee. And if you're curious what the Montreal Protocol it is, it's basically when I walk in on a Monday and I discover 6 fine visitors from our partner studio in Montreal, like, you're going to be on the show on Friday. And that's exactly how it happened. Like, you were literally, you walked around the corner and, like, how long were you in the office before I said, you're on the show on Friday?
Just got in, I think.
We just got in the first day. We just came in the studio to say hi to people. We're there, and you were there. Just say, hey, next Friday we're going to
like 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
You were in the studio for 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Well, because I didn't know you guys were coming, so I literally came in on Monday and I
Walk by
around the
your
corner.
desk, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just like, there's a bunch of French Canadians here. It's like, so, I wasn't expecting it.
That was actually Tuesday because Monday we were jet lagged. We arrived pretty late, so that was, yeah. But we were fresh as a rose.
Yeah,
on
it's true. It was a
Tuesday.
Tuesday because we arrived on a Monday, and
Yeah, it was Tuesday when I got to you guys, but I got to Nick on Monday.
Yeah,
I
I came
got
to say
Nick
hi
and
to you
Fred on
and
Monday.
people, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I don't waste any time.
This guy.
Hey, there's always another Friday, as we say, behind the scenes. So welcome to Star Citizen Live. This is the show where we take about an hour out of the end of our week and we hang out with our developers. And if you hadn't figured it out from our stellar intro this week, this week's guests are members from the Turbulent Games team in Montreal. We've got Max. Say hi, Max.
Hello.
Hi, Max. We got Annie.
Hi.
Hi. We got Nicholas.
Bonjour.
And we got Rainer.
hello, everybody.
I was wondering what they left for you by the time they got to you. So let's just start right off the bat. I said this isn't one of those ones where we had plans and a big agenda or anything. We're just going to free flow this.
Free falling.
Yeah, we are. What are you doing here?
Actually, we came to visit the studio, to meet the team, shake some hands, and
Have some meetings.
have some meetings, fix some stuff.
Drink a lot of drinks as well. But that's just a side thing, Our real gig is working. Very professional.
Vale, dice que ¿qué es lo que hacéis aquí? Nada, pues hacer algunos saludos a la gente, visitar el estudio, algunos meetings y beber mucho, pero eso es solo un efecto secundario de la visita.
Working with CIG and Star Citizen for over a year now. What's the virtue of these trips? What can be done in person that can't just be done over 7,000th Zoom call?
It's 2 full years for most of us now, so.
True.
Isn't that long?
Yeah.
2.5.
I'm about to hit my 8 year. That's why I was like, oh. All right, so 2 years. So same question while I think about how long the time is escaping us.
I mean, there's a lot of things that don't really transpire via Zoom, and I think there's a real value in sitting down face to face with someone. Like, something that you can do from 5,000 kilometers across an ocean. Team bonding and just, I don't know, it's just this vibe of getting shit done when you're, you know.
Claro, dice que al final hay ciertas cosas que no se pueden hacer desde una conversación vía web, o sea, vía webcam, que la sensación de al final reunirse con la gente, sentarse con la gente y hacer vínculos con el equipo, pues que es algo que solo se puede hacer en persona.
Annie's box. Hers is gone. Now, there's the four of you, but who else was in your party? Who's not making it here with us today?
Jason
Jason Tonks.
Jason Tonks
Sorry, Jason.
left
Yeah.
this morning.
And Fred Dupéry, who's our lead concept artist.
Gotcha. Fred is literally back in the office right now, still working with his team. I asked him, like just before we got started, I'm like, hey, you want to come over? And he's like, I can't. I gotta maximize the time that I'm here, which says a lot about the four of you.
Dice, tenemos un compañero que no puede venir, que dice que tiene que maximizar, no puedo estar, hay que maximizar el tiempo con el que estamos aquí. Y lo dice discolando, lo que dice mucho de vosotros, por estar aquí y él no. Pero el otro está currando, por lo visto.
You have a new role at Turbulent Games. Tell the folks, who are you? What do you do?
Nicolas Pinchot. Actually, I'm the new assistant art director in studio in Montreal. And so actually my role will be to, how I can say that, to just
Oversee.
oversee. Thanks, Max. My English is, my job will be to oversee all the mandate we're going to work on in Montreal.
And additionally, to be Ian's trusty sidekick on the Montreal side of things. Ian is a very busy man, so we need someone closer to us, at least in the same time zone, to give us some feedback every once in a while.
What's it? So you're a new assistant assistant art director, associate art director, assistant art director in the Montreal studio, working very closely with Ian.
Because Ian right now has a lot on his shoulders, so he needs assistance to be able to. C'est quoi, pas divulguer, mais tu sais, quand on passe le travail, when you
Delegate.
delegate.
Yeah.
He needs to delegate some stuff, so that's why we have assistant art director now.
Right. So what's it?
Me hace gracia, bueno, evidentemente la persona que está hablando, que dice que es asociado de director de arte, porque dice que por lo visto Ian, que es el lead artist, pues que tiene las manos llenas de trabajo, ¿no? Y que necesita delegar a la hora de pues mantener el equipo funcionando, informado de lo que está sucediendo, ¿no? Es como un buen enlace para que no sea tan cargante el trabajo para el director de arte.
Change much? I imagine it's less creating art.
Yeah, I won't doing more hard than before, but yeah, I think it was natural. It was the next step. It's practically the same thing, but 10,000 bigger. Instead, to have just one small team, I have all the teams.
All the same job, but with more pressure.
More
Yeah.
pressure.
More
More pressure
people.
is the key word.
A lot more pressure, a lot more pressure. So we'll just continue clockwise here. Max, folks might remember you from the CitizenCon presentation on Lorville 2.0.
Yep.
But in case they didn't watch it, tell them who you are, what you do.
Yeah, Maxime Guédon, so lead environment artist. I worked on the Marriott Pure of Art before, like the hospital mandates, New Babbage, and now the Lorville 2.0.
We won't get too far into it. We actually just filmed a segment for ISC about the.
Bueno, es lead content artist, Max, y dice que está trabajando en el tema de los hospitales y también en el Lorville 2.0.
Great for like a city that's a little bit, how should I say, a little bit dark place. But yeah, it's like the city is huge, so and it's a big mandate, I would say.
How much?
Claro, dice que el trabajo, como ha sido, pues dice que es un lugar oscuro, lo que es Lorville, ¿no? Y que es enorme, que es un mandado enorme, ¿no?
Part of the reason for that expansion is to add a bunch of new buildings and new locations so we can add more gameplay.
Exactly.
To the landing zones and stuff. And again, we'll be talking about that in ISC in the new year. Annie.
Está comentando Escolando que hablarán más sobre el Orville 2.0 en el Inside Star Citizen del año que viene.
Well, my name is Annie. I'm a producer at Turbulent Games, and these fine gentlemen are under my umbrella, so I take care of concept art, level art, and QA. And in the new year, we're kind of restructuring the team in Montreal to really have mandate-driven teams. So instead of making a distinction between level art and level design, lighting, we're just going to have teams. So I'm going to be in charge of all locations that come out of Montreal.
Okay.
It's like our mama.
I swear, see?
Vale, dice que ella es productora y que lo que hace pues que todos los equipos de Montreal pues están bajo su paraguas, se encarga de pues la coordinación, el buen funcionamiento de lo que son los diferentes equipos, atender a las necesidades y que van a producirse una serie de cambios que ahora mismo como que están separados en líderes de no sé qué, líderes de no sé cuánto, y van a transformar eso en simplemente equipos que trabajan en lo que es el estudio de Montreal y pues que estará a cargo del equipo de localizaciones de Montreal.
So they're usually at the end of the waterfall, right? So if anything goes wrong at first, they're usually the ones paying the price. And we're trying to kind of mitigate that to get them into processes much earlier so that we can plan better and their life is made easier.
I can hear the audio guys crying right now.
Kim, the audio producer, is a very good friend. So we've been having good conversations.
Yeah, it's always tough, and for folks who, whether this is your first SCL or what, downstream teams are basically, there's a collection, basically not everything can be worked on at the same time, is the simplest way to put it. And so there are teams that have to wait for other teams to do their work first, and those teams have to wait for other teams, and those teams have to wait for other teams. That's the waterfall approach. But there's always somebody at the end, and unfortunately, audio is very often one of the last teams that gets to touch
audio, VFX, and more than anyone else, I think QA. Dean, the assistant QA manager, is also a good friend, and honestly, they're really at the bottom of that waterfall. So everything that trickles down on them, it's just them wiping it up. So we're really trying to make their lives easier.
Claro, está diciendo de que a la hora de cómo se trabaja en Cloud Imperium Games, que todo tiene un efecto de cascada en el sentido de que están los equipos de upstream, los equipos downstream. Entonces, digamos que hay equipos que tienen que esperar por otros equipos, que esos equipos a su vez tienen que esperar por otros equipos para que termine su trabajo. Y están comentando de que pues el equipo de audio, el equipo de efectos especiales están al final de la piscina, de la cajada de sucesos que hay en la empresa. Y entonces que que a veces la presión pues recae en ellos cuando algo pues empieza pues a fallar o lo que sea, ¿no? Pues que son pues también el equipo de control de calidad. Entonces están tratando de buscar un sistema para tratar de mitigar o de hacer la vida de estas personas que reciben todo el contenido de toda la pirámide de equipos más fácil.
Locked in another building altogether. And their key cards don't even access the key cards of the building where the developers are.
So I started my career in QA. I was a QA for longer than I've been a producer, basically. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I've seen all of this. They're at the bottom of the food chain, and they've been treated horribly. And if you retire like that, that department, nobody would ship games, ever.
I won't name the studio. But
there are so many, man.
I once went to a Christmas party where they literally had QA and game masters in a kenneled, walled-off section of imagine a big giant kind of convention floor area. It was a big company, and they had a walled-off section where they stuck the QA and the game masters and people, and they had their own private little party over there while they saw everybody else.
That's terrible. And did you hear about that other company that shall not be named that cut the entire QA department from their credits because the song wasn't long enough? the credit song wasn't.
Claro, están hablando de que la gente de QA, que en lugares en los que no se le valora lo suficiente, y estaba comentando, descolando una experiencia de una empresa que no quiere nombrar, de que cuando hicieron una convención de la empresa, pues en una empresa que estuvo, que no quiere nombrar, que metieron a los Game Masters y al equipo de control de calidad en una habitación separada del resto de la gente que estaba celebrando la empresa. Incluso está comentando la chica una experiencia de un videojuego que a la hora de poner los créditos, como la canción no era lo suficientemente larga, no pusieron los nombres del equipo de control de calidad. Eran los únicos que faltaban por poner.
We were previously, well, both of us, we were the two senior level artists. We both worked together at Turbulent, so we worked on the Ghost Hollow mission, the Reclaimer crash site, the space clinics, and before that I was on the Brentworth Hospital with Maxime.
And Rainer and I have been working together for quite some time.
3 productions now.
Yeah.
So previously before that at ADOS on Guardians of the Galaxy and the Avengers. So,
You don't need to talk.
And as we work on Batman.
yeah, I
Yep.
met
I
Nick
worked with her
at
on
WB
On Batman.
on Batman Arkham Origins. So it's fun with in the team. Well, we do have juniors, but a lot of the seniors we know each other from here and there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the video game industry is a very...
Está comentando su experiencia, que esta persona pues ha trabajado en otros proyectos, ha trabajado en Guardians of the Galaxy, ha trabajado bueno, también en Batman Arkham Asylum. Lo que se refiere es que muchas de las personas que están trabajando en Turbulent se conocen también de hacer otros proyectos que no, y que son seniors, o sea, que son gente preparada, ¿no?
I'm a jerk.
Y aparte de, bueno, pues que para lo que es relacionado con Star Citizen, está trabajando en las localizaciones de la Reclaimer, en los hospitales.
Paul
Studios, we still get to know, after a certain amount of years in the industry in Montreal, you still get to know, there's always 1 or 2 people in every studio because it moves around a lot. After productions, people tend to like switch.
It just shuffles,
Yeah.
yeah. It just basically shuffles every couple years.
Looking at the live chat. And folks, this is a more free-form show than normal. If you have questions for our guests, feel free to throw them in the chat. Remember that they are on the Turbulent locations team and stuff like that. So if you're asking about a spaceship or a salvage or something, this won't be the team for it. Freelancer Alpha says, Jared, just go. God, 10 years on, what has he done? Just chat nonsense?
Jesus, man.
Oh, hold on, you guys do the show. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go work on cargo. just gonna go. All right, so we talked a little bit about art director, you know, and well, let's touch on this a bit more. We've done a lot of segments about concept artists and designers, and we've never actually told the story of what an art director does. So walk me through. I know there's no typical day in game, but what are an art director's responsibilities?
The thing is, Ian is a art director. Me as assistants, actually, I'm just helping all the team to just stay in the track, because we have concepts to create our environment. So it's kind of, I'm not going to decide, okay, today we're going to do this or do that, because all that has already been decided. So it's just giving support and just be sure that people stay focused on the mandate and where we're going.
And it's seeing the high level, right? Because you have your leads under you who can take care of your team. So like Nick is there to do the very high level stuff with me, where we can see things coming in advance.
Next mandate.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm still giving support. I'm still working in the editor. I'm not just high level and just talking and doing meetings.
I'm still assigning bugs to you, so.
Yeah, it's true. Fixing bugs and stuff.
Yeah, you channel the information and it trickles down from Ian to Nick and then to us, the leads, and then to our teams.
Claro, le he hecho la pregunta descolando de qué es lo que hace un director de arte. Y dice, bueno, yo no soy director de arte, soy asistente del director de arte. Entonces, lo que hago es tratar de que... no es como que yo decida en qué proyectos están trabajar, todo eso está decidido, sino lo que hacen, pues resumiendo, es canalizar la información y asegurarse de que la gente está centrada. Y aparte de eso, también se encarga de otras tareas, incluso pues de corregir algunos bugs y demás.
In this industry, no two producers are alike. And I'm not talking about the people who are doing the job. I mean the job. It's producer can mean a wildly different thing in different studios. It can mean a wildly different thing between different teams. So talk to me about your role as a producer and what your job entails.
That's true. It's super abstract because, and it can change like on a dime as well. But I think the way I see my job is to make these guys' lives easier by organizing the workload. Like if my leads and my assistant art director are focused on like, oh my God, we need to make tasks. What are we doing this sprint? How much time is it going to take? We have a problem. Who's going to fix it? Who do we need to talk to? If they're busy doing that, they can't focus on their work. So basically my job is to make sure that they stay focused and I run along to find solutions and to find answers to their questions.
Claro, está comentándole que cada productor, cada producer en diferentes estudios es un mundo e incluso en cada equipo, ¿no? Y está describiendo a la chica que su profesión es un poco abstracta en el sentido de que se centra en lo que sería pues hacer hacer la vida de la gente más fácil, ¿no? En el sentido de pues organizar la carga de trabajo o si por ejemplo pues hay algún tema que tienen que solucionar, a quién se lo pueden asignar. Digamos que de alguna manera es la persona que tiene un control sobre la gestión de quién puede hacer qué cosa o quién está haciendo qué cosa. O sea, tener un control de en qué está trabajando la gente para poder hacer un reparto de tareas con sentido, ¿no?
You would still hit some road bumps, basically. So we will sometimes plan for a certain mandate and then the scope will change because we will have new ideas. We will develop new technology. Patches will get pushed back for one reason or another, and we need to adapt to that. So we need to be able to be reactive and keep a cool head when that happens.
Claro, está diciendo de que a la hora de que un parche se retrasa o hay cambios o hay nuevas tecnologías, necesitamos ser un equipo con capacidad de reacción y con cabeza fría en cuanto a una adversidad, porque al final, hombre, supongo que no les hará mucha gracia que estén trabajando en algo y que algo se tenga que retrasar y tengan que cambiar otra cosa o tengan que hacer otra cosa, pues porque es lo que hay, ¿no?
It's a wonderful entry point for almost any path in game development.
It is. I would go as far as saying it is the best entry point. The best producers, it looks like I'm patting myself on the back here, but the best producers I've known in this industry came from QA. Just because it's so versatile. Like, you have your hands everywhere. You have such top vision of a project when you work in QA. It's pretty similar. Like, when I made the transition to production, it wasn't that big of a jump. Just because I had visibility on...
Está comentando que una de las mejores formas de llegar a ser productor es... dice, los mejores productores que conozco de la industria vienen del control de calidad, porque el control de calidad tienes una visión global de todo lo que está sucediendo y realmente que la transición de pasar de ahí, de tener ese conocimiento a utilizarlo, ¿no? para ser productora, que no es algo que ha sido un cambio bastante sencillo en ese sentido.
You don't have to get rid of bad
Exactly,
habits.
it's a blank slate. They didn't catch any bad habit yet from other places. So sometimes it's a blessing in disguise.
And I guess the will to learn is a huge point. That, like when we hire juniors, when we filter, when we go through the filtering, the interviews, sometimes it's the will, like they're showing them showing the willingness to learn.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big factor, I find.
Está diciendo, de hecho, que a la hora de buscar trabajadores nuevos, lo que le gusta es... o sea, que la gente nueva, que es una bendición en parte porque no viene con malos hábitos de otras cosas, y que sobre todo pues que lo que buscan en una persona, uno de los factores determinantes para que contraten a alguien es que demuestre ganas de aprender, voluntad de aprender y de hecho dice que le gusta, ¿no? Dice la chica que le gusta el trabajar con gente nueva que tenga pues que sean pues eso, gente que tiene potencial para poder ser algo mejor, ¿no?
How long each will take?
That's experience, man. Like it's really
Buenas,
hard. Like the amount
señores.
of time a task will take is just when you've been on a project for a while and you know your people and you know how fast they work.
Yeah, depended how much you have on the team.
It's not
depends
one
so
size
much,
fits all, not at all. And granular, again, it depends on your team. Like my art team is very autonomous, and I don't need to go into too much detail to keep them focused. But like other teams will function in a way where they'll hammer out like 10 tasks a week. So you need to be more granular with them. But it really depends on the discipline you're managing. Like not knowing which project you're managing, it's hard to answer, but it really depends on your team. Get to know your team and their strong points and their weaknesses, and that's really what helps.
Chat with this name says, "Can I have your RSI laptop?" No, it's just a sticker. It's just a sticker on a little case that I got from Wish. See, it comes off. It's not fancy. It's just a regular laptop with the fancy thing. So Rainier, what are you working on right now?
I'm working on the derelict cabs. Will be like, well, not like habitation pods or even maybe garages or little like workshops built from ship pieces. So that's something that we'll be bringing into the following releases. Something to dress up with the crash sites. So we saw one of the early ones in the Ghost Hollow mission. That was one of the first habs that we made, and we're just adding more of like
creating this library of
Yeah.
those,
Dice que ahora mismo está trabajando en hacer hacer como viviendas en ruinas con partes de naves incluso y que es algo que empezaremos a ver en el futuro.
Shelters,
cover.
yeah.
They look great. You guys are good.
Refugios, coberturas.
You'll see those on the first. I think it's the first ISC back after the new year. We'll have a segment on the new derelict cabs and the big asset library zoo. I always like to call them a zoo, but I guess that we're creating. It's like this. How come none of you are wearing SC clothing merch?
We were
really
on other days.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
you were
we
wearing
had
your
our
Turbulent
Turbulent
Games
shirts.
Yeah, Turbulent
Yeah.
Game shirt. I saw somebody's Turbulent Game shirt, and I was like, I want a Turbulent Game
Yeah.
shirt.
They're
And
actually really nice.
give us a break. We're at the end of a work trip. Like laundry is scarce.
Yeah, we're wearing some of our last shirts.
I still have one.
Yeah,
shirt.
for the plane.
How many times did you flip your underwear?
Every day. No, I changed underwear. Not yet.
The views and opinions of Annie do not represent those of Cloud Games, Robert Space Industries, Turbulent Games, or its subsidiaries.
That wasn't a swear.
All right. I knew it was going to be one of these shows when I started. Yeah, they're all talking about Laundry Day. Yes, line. Is it live? No. This was pre-recorded, and we thought this was the best possible version of the show to put forth.
With a swear count up to 1 so far.
Don't like make it a challenge.
I just want to say bonjour les gens turbulents qui nous regardent en ce moment.
Allô les amis.
Salut tout le monde.
I just say hi to our team in Montreal.
No, do that for us. Talk to the team in Montreal in French. Go ahead. I won't know what you're saying.
J'espère que vous êtes en train de regarder parce que sinon,
Producer. Voilà.
gonna get you.
Sinon, vous allez avoir plus de Gira.
Oh, oui. That's actually a good threat. I like it.
Sorry, guys.
All right. With that, we are going to take a short break. And when we come back, we'll have more with the Turbulent Games team here. They'll just be in different chairs. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
hunger for the challenge. Pitted against nature, you will need discipline, determination, and the courage to never give up. Looks like you need a beer mate.
Cosmonaut is the premier online magazine for Star Citizen, packed full of ship reviews, outfitting guides, upcoming events, org interviews, current affairs, history, and more. Cosmonaut is your comprehensive guide to all aspects of life among the stars. Our talented team of writers, editors, designers, photographers, and artists are all passionate pilots and aim to bring you stellar images, incisive articles, and incredible design. Season 1 of Cosmonaut is available for download now. Head to www.cosmonautmagazine.com to get all 12 issues completely free.
There has to be at least one
Ojo,
place where people can get away from me. As far as I recognize that, there's the Star Citizen experience, and then all around the Star Citizen, there's me. And like to your point, it's like I don't want to be in the game. There needs to be some place in Star Citizen where people are like, I can get away from Jared, and I can get away from Jared by going in the verse.
I think we will do hubs, your hubs. Derelict hubs.
This is my hub.
Yeah, maybe we can create a derelict version of your hubs.
A derelict version.
Please don't sign us up for more work.
Just thinking.
Están diciendo, quizás podamos hacer tu lugar abandonado, Jared.
We actually already have that. There's a this is humorous considering I've been sick for about a month now. There is a bottle of Cloud CT Lando Fever syrup that's been in the game. It was actually created by Behavior back when they were working with us in 2014, 2015, things like that. So that's actually been in the game for a couple of years. That actually predates my employment here. So I had that asset in the game, and that's as far into the game as I ever need to be. I'm content to being the impenetrable fog that surrounds it. People should be able to jump in game and escape. So welcome back to Star Citizen Live. We have members from the Turbulent Games team here.
Estaba hablando sobre el tema de cosas que tiene el juego. No necesito más cosas en el juego, ya tengo suficiente con los botecitos que hay de Disco Lando Fever. Que prefiero ser la niebla que está por ahí, ¿no? Con calma. No hay necesidad de que aparezca el juego.
Vastly improved and making their way throughout the Stanton system. To that end, our next question from the chat comes from Cradle Robin. I didn't say that out loud, but hadn't said that out loud before I read it. Are there going to be more of the derelict locations added to Stanton, or is it mainly Pyro that the work is going into?
Right now, we're thinking about making more on Stanton, because Pyro is not really ready yet to create too much stuff on it. So yeah, we'll say that, but eventually we're going to have a lot of them.
Pyro. It should.
Right now?
Yeah.
Well,
not
eventually.
No, not right now, but
Eventually.
soon. Yeah, for the next year will be more Stanton, but eventually we'll be everywhere.
I mean, I can give you the scoop that we're starting to look at that in Q1.
Yeah. No, with the use of the Rastar tool and everything, its development, it's basically Stanton is the testing bed for that tool and using that. And they're placing down the outposts and stuff now. The new upcoming outpost with it, and then it will of course be used for a stand-in or for pyro when that time comes.
And to go with one of your questions, why we were here, actually meeting the guys working with Rastar, that was one of the reasons why we came, is to get like some training on it and to see how it works live, because sometimes training is a bit easier, doing this like in person rather than.
Dice que para el trabajo que están haciendo, que de momento se están centrando en Stanton, a lo largo de este año se van a centrar en Stanton, pero ya pues tienen la mirada puesta en meterse, pues estar en todos los lugares, ¿no? De lo que es el universo de Star Citizen, hablando de Pyro en este caso. El tema también dice que uno de los motivos por los cuales se han venido aquí al estudio de CIG a Europa es por el tema de familiarizarse con el Rastar y recibir un entrenamiento para Rastar.
Several months.
Porque es algo que se hace mejor en persona, ¿no?
Stanton's not finished. I saw somebody say Stanton is finished, and I think Stanton's not finished. We're still building Stanton. We're still building Pyro. We're still building Nix, stuff like this. But it's not a thing where you just. It goes akin to what John Cruz said. John Cruz said had a line in our IAE All Ships Super Talk Spectacular from a couple weeks ago that was also taken out of context, where. Actually, it wasn't John Cruz, it was Ben Curtis, where they talked about where's the best place to put your work and your effort right now. And the question comes if you can work right now to put something in the game right now, that's a better use than if you can work to put something in the game 6 months from now, because you can work next month to put the thing in 6 months from now. So game development is a constant series of priority shiftings and adjustments, and that I'm sure I'm not revealing any secrets to anybody who talks about Star Citizen and who shares in the content creation of Star Citizen. They will know that the priorities change and shift dramatically during the course of development. So, but it always prioritizes what can be done now and what can be done next and stuff like that. So as we move closer to the time where it's like, okay, now the underlying systems are in place and we can actually put Pyro into the persistent universe, that's where the ramp up on that stuff goes. That's why when you looked at we had presentations with Pyro during DCC, he talked about how Pyro is basically like 80% complete. They bring the planets to that 80% and then they stop, they pause, because there's no need to finish it off now when the technology will continue to grow and continue to evolve. When it's ready to go in, that's when they will finish it off and polish it up with the technology and the tools and the procedures.
Claro, está hablando un poco de lo que es el estado de progreso de Stanton, que dice que Stanton que no está terminado y que o sea, realmente los sistemas no están terminados en Star Citizen, que todavía quedan muchas herramientas que terminar de desarrollar y, bueno, algunas herramientas que terminar de desarrollar y que a la hora de pulir o mejorar lo que es Stanton, que todavía queda mucho trabajo por hacer y que cuando esas herramientas se terminen, pues será el momento de meterle la mano realmente pues a así terminar lo que es el sistema Stanton.
Priorities. If you got to set a priority, and I'm just asking you to talk about it personally, what would you want to work on?
I could start.
Yeah?
Yeah, the building interiors. So in the future, I'm going to develop the building interiors, and I'm very much interested in developing like the procedural level building, basically.
Okay.
¿Y en qué cosas estarías interesado en trabajar, ¿no? ¿Qué es lo que os entusiasma trabajar en el futuro? Pues quiero trabajar en construir interiores y en herramientas procedurales para poder construir niveles de interior.
Me would be the opposite, doing exteriors, since I've been doing a lot of interiors since I've started. Well, besides Ghost Hollow, but working. I don't know if I can say what I'll be working on. Jumping on.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. Okay. So
nothing you guys are working on is secret right now.
Okay. So I'll be jumping onto the UGFs, the underground facilities, and the Montreal team is going to start with the first zone, the surface parts. So working directly on the planet and making a big compound.
Otro de los de las cosas dice que es por el contrario que trabajar en los exteriores, porque lleva trabajando en interiores durante un tiempo, haciendo el tema de la reclaimer y demás. Y dice que estará trabajando en las instalaciones, en las nuevas instalaciones bajo tierra. Bueno, lo que vimos en el Inside Star Citizen, está trabajando en las superficies y en los grandes complejos que vamos a tener, ¿no? Que nos mostraron en la CitizenCon.
To be working on that you're not already working on.
Actually, our next mandate are so awesome that it's
We always pick what we want to work on.
exactly.
Yeah.
I try to make sure that everyone goes on to something that they're passionate about. So yeah, we've hammered this out in the past couple months, and we've distributed our teams on mandates that would motivate them.
The building there was going to be crazy. All those buildings over there, maybe not all, but a lot of them will have content in it.
We'll have some industrial and
Industrial,
some residential, and
commercial, rooftops, say maybe sewer.
Yeah, run
All this
down.
building will be able to connect each
Holdings.
other, so we're going to add so much gameplay on
And
those.
holding cells, I think, like prisons for.
Yeah. I think.
eventually we're all looking at that. We're seeing what works, what doesn't, and we'll hammer out the proof of concept for this, and then we'll be doing a bunch of those.
Making a world more world.
That's such
Adding world to
producer
world.
talk.
Dice, haremos el mundo que sea más mundo, ¿no? Pues dice que van a trabajar en un montón de cosas, mirar qué cosas funcionan, qué cosas no, pero en dar vida, dar utilidad a todo, que no sean edificios de plástico las cosas, ¿no? Como son ahora.
That's like the opposite of what I just said. It's like the polar opposite of what I just said.
Aparte, una cosa importante que tienen a nivel del trabajo como productora, que trata de hacer que todo el mundo se encaje en lo que le gusta, ¿no?
Talked about, and we're gonna have a lot more in the next year. I think you guys are aware that Montreal is ramping up the team, so we're gonna take on more and more super exciting mandates, but sadly I can't talk about all of them. So it'll be for next time I'm over. I can tell you guys about it.
So I was about to.
I was going to add something. With the UGFs, I think one thing that's going to be different, because all the other mandates we had were very local, like everything was made in Montreal. So for the UGF, that's going to be one mandate where we're really going to work with the Manchester team.
More
So,
collaboration.
yeah, a lot more
Yes.
collaboration. So
Que está diciendo que una de las cosas que bueno, que lo que quiere trabajar lo siguiente, pues que el equipo va a crecer, y el equipo Montreal va a crecer y va a recibir más tareas y cosas que no puede hablar y tal, que nos hablará seguramente una próxima vez. Y el tema de con respecto a las underground facilities, las instalaciones bajo tierra, es que es el primer mandado que siempre en el equipo Montreal han trabajado a nivel local, y que esta vez pues están haciendo el primer trabajo en colaboración con el resto de estudios de CIG,
Like derelict locations.
con el de Manchester concretamente.
Will be, with Rastar, we're going to take like those pieces that we built in the past few quarters, and we're going to spread them somewhat procedurally. So yeah, pretty much everything we'll be working on in the next year follows that pattern.
an early test that
Claro, están diciendo por el tema de Rastar y tal, el tema de lo procedural, que los recursos que han estado construyendo, como los de la Reclaimer y demás, que son cosas que se van a poner de forma procedural, esparcirán de forma procedural, y va a ser la dinámica que tengan de trabajo a la hora de hacer recursos, módulos y demás, y mediante Raster pues poder poblar el universo, ¿no?
Basically, right?
Yeah.
So that every piece would actually fit together,
yeah,
and that we never procedurally put two things that don't quite fit.
yeah.
So
And just so that we don't leave them out, that question came from My Meat Stick.
Hi, my
that's an
meat stick.
excellent name.
What does it mean?
I don't know.
Oh, you pure little boy.
Cancel 1395 says, is the derelict village turbulent designed first and was shown off for them as the announcement still being worked on? I think you're talking about the Javelin. You're talking about the big Javelin
Oh.
crash, the kind of proof of concept, one of the
Yeah.
earliest things you worked on. This comes up every time we have something that remotely touches turbulent. People are like, is that still on?
No,
No,
that thing was more.
It was an onboarding test.
It was an
yeah.
onboarding test. It was just for us to just get used to the tools, get used to the pipeline, and just try to
The
learn
editor
how the
too.
CIG work. Yeah.
Because I think it's maybe the only studio in Montreal that uses CryEngine. So for us, it was getting into CryEngine and learning it. So
So no plans to put that in there.
no.
Next
Anyways, the things that we've done are better, I think.
next question: why do you hate the backers?
We don't.
I don't hate them.
I don't think.
Why doesn't this go in? Why not do it? Isn't it done? Is John
would have to-
isn't it just
because
done?
Yeah, we
It's-
would have to redo it from scratch
Yeah.
almost, and
It's kind of
The
like there was-
technology has already moved forward quite a bit since we touched that, but we can take that idea and put it in our back pocket and think about it in a while. But yeah, it would need some massive rework.
Because it was more of a proof of concept and like Max
Que
said.
están hablando del tema de la Javelin, comentando de que en realidad que es una pena, ¿no? Porque esto ni siquiera es cuando lo sabía, que simplemente que esto no va a venir en el juego, lo que estaban trabajando con el pecio de la Javelin de Daymar, con la Flysa, la UEES Flysa, pues que no... Que eso que es algo que pueden ver para el futuro, pero que realmente que la tecnología se ha movido para adelante y que era simplemente pues una forma de iniciarse en lo que es el proyecto, de trabajar en CryEngine, que eso pues estaba hecho en eso y tal, para familiarizarse con la tecnología, pero que ahora mismo que eso no es simplemente pues algo que se va a ir a la basura, ¿no? Que tiene que hacer un rework masivo, empezar desde cero otra vez.
As long as they allow me. Habanero sauce. Oh, it scrolled. Says, how much does story or lore affect your work? How much story is there in the stuff that you create? Do you just make stuff and then you send it to the narrative team and like make it make sense, or do you actually take stuff from narrative or feedback from narrative and apply it as you're creating?
I think we bring in the narrative team. Like we show them where we're at. I talk about like for Loreal Skyline in particular, we just like show them like where we're at, like in terms of placeholder and then in terms of branding, and like telling them that like this is the size of the city, like this is the different areas that we have, and we need like a little bit of variation into that. Then they go to work with that, and they bring their ideas too, and it's just like a synergy with
It's a healthy mix of both, I think. We get the concept from the concept artist, and then we work something out, and then we try to involve narrative as early as possible in the process so that they can have a first look and wrap their head around what we're trying to do, and then they always come up with the most wonderful ideas. So we try to meld everything together, but
But sometimes the ideas come from us. We have ideas about crash, why those crash happens, and we can just send our ideas to the narrative, and they can just accept it and say, oh yeah, we can do that.
And we're doing little derelict HABs to full derelict spacecraft. We're now doing derelict spacecraft in space. Has the name, I scrolled by and I lost the name, I'm sorry. But any discussions about derelict space stations? Just going one bigger, an entire broken down, run down space station. Not like ruin station, which is still...
¿Alguna ideas acerca de estaciones espaciales abandonadas en el espacio o en ruinas en el espacio?
Or maybe even a crash space station.
Yeah,
they've been discussed.
Yes, we're talking about it. I don't remember the name. Is the what's the name of the big star system? I don't remember.
Stanton?
No, it's the big.
Terra?
Port Olisar?
Port Olisar.
Port Olisar.
Yeah. Sorry. Thank you. We were talking about maybe we're going to crash Port Olisar on the planet somewhere eventually.
But For now, I
Could be
don't
nice.
think
LOL.
I don't think this is a mandate that's going to be on us, and if it is, it won't be for now.
LOL,
That
vaya
could
lo
make
que
a
acaban de
nice
hacer.
little-
Acaban de soltar que. Es que vaya liada. Acaban de decir que estaban pensando en estrellar Port Olisar, la estación de Port Olisar, pero que. Pues pero que no vamos a tener este mandado por ahora.
Please. Like I already see the people. I already see the one dude running to Reddit right now.
Vaya
Right
liada.
now. Nicholas said they're gonna crash Fort Olisar on a planet.
No, I said we thought about maybe we could crash Polaris on the planet.
We've had lots of discussions over the years about what we can do with Port Olisar, and we've even talked about them, here on this show and on other things. It's like I think there's a definitive intention to end Port Olisar's life.
Dice que hay una intención definitiva de terminar con Port Olisar en algún punto.
Being discussed.
Yeah, it could
So-
still be years away.
¿Cómo va a ser que todavía no se sabe, pero que definitivamente hay una intención de cargárselo?
Undertaking and
Well, no matter what we do end up doing with Port Olisar, it's going to need careful planning. So
Yeah, because it's going to be unique, so take a lot of times, a lot of people.
Y lo que vayamos a hacer o no con Port Olisar, tenemos que tener mucho cuidado porque lleva mucha gente, mucho... Buah, esto es una liqueada, un pan. Se nos ha escapado ahí, yo creo, pero bueno.
because it was made with the procedures and knowledge that we had in 2015.
Pero bueno, no pasa nada, está bien. O sea, al final más o menos sabíamos que eso no podía seguir así, ¿no? Port Olisar no podía seguir así. Porque muchas veces ellos en el estudio se refieren a Port Olisar como el hijo bastardo.
turning the page on an old relic and kind of giving a story to
Send
Star
off.
Citizen.
Yes,
Yeah.
to
a
come
proper send-off.
Send
Yeah.
off.
So dramatic.
The siege of Port Orisar, or Port Olisar, Port Orisar. I'm tired and I'm sick, folks. I'm tired. I'm trying. Let's see what else. What do you, Max? What do you want to talk about?
Not for anything.
Port Orisar confirmed. Yeah. Sorry, folks. I got a major thing like a month ago, and I'm still working my way through it. So apologize. Today is a fuzzy head day. Yeah, serial killer is like, why do you hate PO? Have you used our PO system? It's terrible. Something for our producers. So I don't know when we're just about out of time anyway. I don't know when the next time we're going to have a group of folks over. I've never been to Montreal. I've never been to Turbulent Studio. It's the only studio I haven't
You
visited.
should come in
You should
February.
come visit. Oh no, don't do that.
February 23rd.
That's
is
terrible advice.
But I know some people will be there in January. The Villazang will be there in January.
Really?
Oh,
And,
they'll be here.
Here,
You mean
yeah.
they'll be here? And yes. So you'll get to meet a couple of our design folks, character art folks as well. Yeah, there was like a little round of people who got promoted into new titles. So yeah, you'll get to see them in January. And
So-
then Nick and I should visit more often as well. So we'll be back.
So what I was getting to then is since I don't know when the next time you guys are going to be back, is there any final things, any last things you want the Star Citizen community to know about you, your jobs, the studio, your work? You've literally got an array of cameras here. What do you want to say to them? What do you want to say to them?
Well, I can say just I don't know. I work in the industry since a while now, and working on Star Citizen, it's one of my best experience yet. So it's super nice, super cool, super awesome, and I think we will work super hard to just give to everyone the best game ever.
Yeah.
It's the most rewarding project, and
Que están haciendo que una última cosa que quería decir a la gente, dice mirando por la cama, dice que es uno de los más una de las experiencias más recompensantes, que están entusiasmados por entregar el mejor juego que nunca haya existido.
This has been Star Citizen Live, the Montreal Protocol. Thanks for hanging out with us. Sorry I was a bit discombobulated. I'm doing the best I can. I hopped up on a whole lot of medication. If you haven't already, check out this week's Inside Star Citizen. It has a nice look at members of the tools team and their work helping build stability and making sure the wheels of game dev continue to turn. And then, of course, the Polaris concept model internal layout rework that was finally showcased. It's our best look yet at the interior layout of the Polaris, the big honkin' torpedo ship that could. And then come on back next week. Next week's going to be an interesting one. ISC is changing format to be a Journey to 4.0 special. If you saw our CitizenCon presentations this year, many of them were themed about special Journey to 4.0 presentations. We have another one and several more coming throughout the next months into 2023. And the first of the new rash of Journey to 4.0 features is coming next Thursday, where ISC is. So you can check that out. It's about audio concepts for the Pyro system and trying to create a new and alien soundscape for an entirely new star system. So you can check that out. And then we'll be right back here next Friday on Star Citizen Live. We finally rescheduled the vehicle feature team for our Master Modes conversation. So we're going to have Richard Towler and Yogi Klatt on to talk about Master Modes, which were first introduced at DCC. And then I hear there might be some specialist the second guest, but I don't want to commit to it just yet. So yeah, for Nick and Rainer and Annie and Max, I'm Jared. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next week, everybody. Take care.
Goodbye, folks.
Goodbye.
Vale. Han dicho al final que... A ver si dicen algo, porque... ¿No? ¿Han cortado ya? Bueno, aparte que Discolando, pues yo creo que está constipado también, porque dice que estaba hasta arriba de medicamentos. Estaban comentando el tema de que el ISC de la semana que viene, que va a tener un formato diferente, porque va a ser un formato de camino a la 4.0, en la que nos van a enseñar el audio, cómo hacer un audio de un sistema nuevo. Vamos a ver eso cómo es y a qué se refiere exactamente, pero bueno, en un principio parece que es un sistema nuevo. O sea, ni es Pyro ni es Nix. O sea, es un sistema nuevo. Vamos a coger eso con pinzas, porque es an entirely new system, porque pues puede referirse al sistema entero nuevo de Pyro. Vamos a esperar a ver de qué va eso, ¿no? Y luego pues también que el ISC, el Star Citizen Live de la semana que viene va a ser sobre los Master Modes, sobre el nuevo modelo de... los nuevos cambios que va a haber para el vuelo y que van a venir... pues contaremos con Yogi y Richard, creo que ha dicho, que debe ser, creo que es me parece que es el de barbita y tal. Ya veremos. Y que igual hay un invitado especial, pero que no quiere todavía tal. Ya veremos, a ver. De la 3.18 no se ha dicho nada todavía. Así que igual hay que esperar. Igual hay que esperar. Yo creo que lo más gordo ha sido lo de que hayan soltado que por Olisa se va a la mierda. Me parece una bastada que lo hayan soltado en plan... O sea, porque lo han dicho